ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome to the stage the director, Wes. And let's also welcome Karen to the stage. Karen and Victoria, our leading ladies. Ladies, once again, congratulations on a phenomenal job. Phenomenal performances. Wes, I'd like to start the questions with you. You had a gem, you had a treasure for decades. Tell me if you could share in a small way the process.
Well, it was a tape, as you know, that I made during this evening, and I kept it just as a memento of the evening myself. I really didn't intend to share it with anybody. And we culled a bit of it out because there was a lot of repetition, a lot of extra noise, things like that. And so for 40 years it sat in a cassette player in my drawer, and I played it one evening for two lovely people that I know, the Warshells, Larry and Laura Warshell. And they said, you know, it really should be brought to the public and made into a film of some sort. And I had given some thought to making it a small stage play, but I don't have any wherewithal to do that. And they said, you know, we would be willing to go into business with you and help you produce this film. So it came about as that, and because we had the audio tape, I figured that was the most important thing that needed to be shown. And necessarily then it had to come out of the mouths of very talented actresses who were enough looking like the original ladies that it was a believable piece that you could, with a little suspension of disbelief, as I said, not really know that it really wasn't those women saying the words. And so that's how it came about.
And Karen, I would love to know, were you an admirer of Miss Davis's performances? Did you ever feel a connection to Bette Davis in your career previously to this performance?
Absolutely. I love, even the bad movies, she's fun to watch. But since I was about 5 years old, people had told me that I resembled Bette Davis. And it was kind of scary then to a little girl, but I really embraced that and really just love her stuff. And it's an honor to portray her, and hopefully, honestly.
Share with me your process on when you got the audio recording and your rehearsals, because I mean it is impeccable how you captured mannerisms, the non-verbal body language. It's really top of the game, please.
Well, Wes loaned us the tapes, not for very long. We had to turn them back. It was very difficult because there was a lot of material to work with, and the first weekend we worked on this was like, ooh, well, he said disaster. I didn't see it, but he worked out a system whereby we could do this in segments and break it out, because I think we had audio tapes coming into our ears, and that's really hard to do. You can't listen to someone and then try to do it and stay in character. That's the challenge, you know. But I had, as well as Victoria, impersonated Bette for a while, so I sort of knew her mannerisms and had done a stage play with my partner, Don Yannon, playing Glenn Shahan, called Bette Days, that we took to Florida. And so I had watched many of her movies, you know, so I was familiar with that. But, you know, I didn't have an insight into her personal life, but, you know, I have all the books on her and read enough about her, so, and looking like her, so it was fun. It was a challenge. And we did it.
Congratulations. I'm going to move down here to the wonderful actress, Victoria. I watched this film, darling. Thank you so much. I watched this film and I thought, how did they find this incredible actress? You captured so much of the quality. Please share with us.
it too. I'm gonna go out of character, okay? Thank you. I've been doing it 30 years. Yeah, I know I'm young. No, I'm not. And I loved Mae West all my life, so it was very easy to do. I was singing in a band, and somebody said, you should do Mae West. Why would I do that? And they said, because you make $300 an hour. Oh, that's a good reason? And I've been doing it ever since. Still make $300 an hour, which is odd. But I love her. I studied her and been doing her for impersonations for as long as Karen has.
Longer than me.
Oh, really?
25 years.
Oh.
You got 5 years
Kid.
on me.
Yeah. So she's a fabulous person, and I emulate her in some ways, by the way. I don't drink like she doesn't. I never did drugs, never smoked, and have a lot of real estate. But the one thing I don't have is the men in my life. But she's got a lot of men.
Let's open it up. Who's got a couple questions for us right here? For this wonderful cast and the director. Anyone? Yes.
I want to know who did your makeup. It was absolutely sensational.
I have a wonderful friend who's won 3 Academy Awards and about 8 Emmys. His name is Matthew Mungle, and he owns WM Creations, which is a wonderful makeup studio. They do Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Won for that. They did Glenn Close and Albert Nobbs, and they did a couple of other films I can't actually remember the names of. But they're wonderful friends, and they said, "Oh, we'll do it." And they just put pictures up and made these women look exactly like they were in the photograph. Yeah, thank you. I'll let them know you said that.
Another question? Any other questions?
Yes.
Yeah, the clip and still stuff you do when you go back to the original movies, were you limited in the time that you could show?
Yes, there's
you
a-
probably want to show more stuff.
Right. There's a rule in filmmaking, especially in documentary filmmaking, and it says that if you do use a clip of something or a still of something, if it is put into the film to enhance or explain or clarify something that your feature is about, you're allowed to use it for a reasonable amount of time. They start with 3 seconds and say, you can't go on for 20 minutes and do it, but you can take these clips and it's legal to do. The rights are not necessarily have to be purchased.
A question in the back there, yes.
Yes.
That guy that played you in the film, when you laid eyes on him, did you immediately say, he looks just like me?
Well, Brandon is here today. Where are you?
He's right next to her.
Come on upstairs.
He's right next to her.
Brandon is become a good friend of mine. He played me in the film, and I'm an ice skater, and Brandon is an ice skating coach, pretty well famous in the world. He won pair skating nationals, was it? Worlds, whatever it was, and he's an amazing skater. And I watched him skate, and I was learning from another coach at the time, and I kept looking at him, and I thought, he could work into this part with me if he can act. And we chatted, and he said, well, as a matter of fact, I've done some acting, and so on and so forth. So we had a conversation and talked, and I said, you're hired. And we put a mustache on him and combed his hair a little differently, and that's the way it happened. But yes, I recognized him, and the other gentleman who's not with us tonight, Gary Kemp, who played Chuck in the film. Chuck and he in real life look like they could be twins. It's amazing. So we did really well with our cast. Any questions?
That's our last question, right?
Yes.
How did the rest of the evening go?
It was wonderful. There was another 2 hours of dinner, and I was out of tape, so I couldn't do that. I could narrate the rest of it, and it got pretty raucous. It really did. Yeah.
If I actually had a question.
Go ahead.
A question for you. So, I think we all go through things and we have mementos and we wonder, what do we keep and what do we discard? Because we're in this society where we're trying to get rid of things and always keep them simple and keep our houses clean. So I'm curious, for me as a personal friend, but also for the audience, what made you hold on to this tape and just say, after 30 years, imagine this, after 30 years he held on to this tape and said, today's the day that I'm going to make this film. So I'm very curious and I would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Well, I talked to several people over the years about doing something with it, and nobody really had any good ideas. I have a little war chest, that I call it. It's a trunk that I've had for years and years, and I keep the Life magazines with the day Kennedy was shot, and when Rock Hudson died, who was a patient of mine and a lovely man and a friend, and stories about him, and just stuff that happened in my life when the shuttle crashed, things like that, things that really made a big point. And I kept that tape in there. And I knew that sooner or later it would go bad, and when I had the first chance to make a computer version on DVD of the tape, I did. But of course, the more you copy and copy and copy things, the less the quality is. And so what we got here is 40 years old audio cassette tape that was stuck in a box with, you know, no air and no light for all that time. And I kept it because Betty Davis was a lovely friend of mine, and she was an amazing woman, even though I wasn't really enamored with her pictures at the time. I was a 27-year-old kid, she was a 65-year-old lady, and I knew she was an actress, but I had not seen a lot of her films. So I wasn't enamored, and that's probably why we got along, because we didn't talk about, you know, her film career, things like that. And the fact that she met Mae West, who was somebody I really liked and who I thought was just an amazing character, was the reason that I kept the tape, because I figured nobody else had that experience. I did, and it's mine.
Larry and Laura.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, Larry, that's what I said. Wonderful executive producers for us. Lovely folks, and just very generous with making this production happen, and true supporters. They're amazing friends, and I'm grateful to know them. Thank you for bringing that up.
What?
Yes.
One quick story from that dinner that you
Yes.
can share?
Go ahead.
No? For you?
From the dinner? Oh, the dinner. There's one quick story, and that was the most stellar of the bunch. Somebody asked Betty why she didn't like Joan Crawford, and she said, "I don't like her because she's not nice to her kids." And then she proceeded to tell a tale about sitting in Joan Crawford's house with her, studying lines and running lines for Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, which actually never got done with Joan Crawford, and that's more of the story. But she said, I said, "Why do you not like her?" And she said, "Because it was a Sunday and her daughter, a little girl, came in, pretty long blonde hair, little blue dress, and asked if she could go to the party. And Crawford said to her, 'Turn around.' So the little girl did a 360 and stood back in front of her mother, and the mother said, 'Go get the scissors.' And she went and got scissors, and Crawford grabbed her by the back of the neck and cut the hair off from below long hair to the nape of her neck. The little girl in tears, and Crawford said, 'Now you can go to the party.' And that's why Betty didn't like her."
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and on that note, I think it's orange juice time. What do you say, Karen? It's orange juice time. So we're going to go across the street to Sadie's for the after party of When Betty Met Mae. That's one more. You guys are wonderful. Not only do we applaud these performers, but we applaud you, the audience. Thank you so much. Let's all head over to Sadie's. The entrance is in the parking lot, right directly across the street.